Good evening, Titan Nation. What's up, everybody? And welcome to yet another edition of Titans and Truth. Welcome to a Hump Day edition of Titans and Truth. I am your host, Chris, aka Blue Enforcer, and I am doing this on behalf of my tag team partner, Miss Truth Hurts, Wembley. Telling your partner I miss you. I need you back on. On the show. But I know you working hard as usual. And I'm never gonna take away from anybody when they're on their grind trying to make their money. So I definitely understand where you're coming from with that. Miss Truth Hurts, my tag team partner. So I'm doing this with her in my mind. And knowing that I don't like being without my tag team partner, without my friend, but you know the show must go on, and I know she'll be returning at some point very soon, as soon as we get some scheduling things worked out. But I know you will probably wonder out there, well, gee, we're on a bye week. It's not really a lot to talk about. Actually, there is, because now we're off the bye week is past, and now we are getting ready to host the defending Super Bowl champion Denver Broncos coming into Nissan Stadium. They have a record, I believe they have a record of 8-4 on the season, and so this is going to be a very tough. It's going to be a different matchup for us. We know our offense is very good, but we know their defense is very good. And this is something that we're definitely going to get into in just a bit. But first off, before we get into anything, even though the bye week was pretty boring for me, and I didn't enjoy the fact that the Titans didn't have to play, but it was good that they got to rest and get a lot of guys back. Looks like DeMarco Murray, not on the injury report, has practiced the last couple of days, so that's a very good sign. Also, so looks like we have a very good chance of being just about healthy for this particular game. But yeah, the last week with the bye week has been kind of boring for me, and I'm actually glad that we got some football to talk about. And there are a couple of other things that's going on that I may mention since we were indeed on the bye week, and I think this is going to be the first time I have to admit that I've had time to really, really, really sit back and think about the draft. And really think about the draft. And, that's something that we're going to start up with because I've got to watch a little bit of college football, watched a little bit of Florida State a few weeks ago, and also got to watch, of course, I'm a fan of Florida State. I also like Michigan. And I got to see my alma mater, the Memphis Tigers, right here, get victorious, get into the Boca Raton Bowl against Western Kentucky. And also got to watch the SEC Championship a little bit with Alabama and Florida. And I want to talk about this draft a little bit since we were on the bye week and we didn't have a game to depict before. You gotta wonder. Of course, with the draft, you gotta think on best available instead of just need. But I will say, need is a very strong word and a word that probably is necessary when it comes to the Tennessee Titans. Now, as of right now, we will be slated to pick, if the season ended today, we'd be slated to pick number 6 and number 14. With the Rams continuing to lose, that higher pick might get up into the top 5. I would not be surprised if by the end of the season, we're not somewhere close to like number 4 or number 3. Hopefully Jacksonville can pick up a win against either Indianapolis or Houston and gives us a chance to get up into the top 4. But I think we have a very good shot at getting into the top 5 of the draft. And so that's going to be a very interesting turn of events. See how the Rams finish heading into this home stretch of the year. But what would you say are our biggest needs going into the draft, as we have seen this season? Number one need, in my honest opinion, and I'm pretty sure this has been rehashed all over the place, is the secondary, particularly cornerback. Cornerback will probably be our biggest need there is in the draft. Then after that, I would say a number one wide receiver would definitely be needed, and also besides cornerback and wide receiver, what else would we possibly need? Oh yeah, no, a cornerback. Cornerback is definitely a need. Then, of course, also a need that has really creeped up over over this season, really, that we thought maybe wouldn't be a need, but it started to become one, is inside linebacker, because we do have issues covering tight ends. And sometimes we need those inside linebackers should be the type to get in and stuff for a loss behind the line of scrimmage. And besides, that also one other need that we need, cornerback. Cornerback, cornerback, cornerback. Did I not say that before? Cornerback? Did I not say that before? Maybe a safety too, but I would say also a cornerback. Yes. Cornerback, cornerback, cornerback is our biggest need there is. And looking at some of the top-rated players that may be coming out, I put in a list. I just put in an order at the way I was thinking it. This may not be the order I have it coming later. But first I would say is Jalen Tabor, or Tease Tabor, out of Florida. 6-foot corner who is very aggressive. Can be very good in tackling and run support. Definitely quick. And has a little tenacity about him. But will John Robinson be able to forgive him of an incident in the past that hurt him? I want to say about a year ago or maybe 2 years ago. But since then, he's kept his nose clean since. Also, you got Desmond King, the cornerback from Iowa. He could have really came out last year and would have been drafted in the first round, but he decided to go back to school, and his numbers went down, but a lot of teams were throwing away from him. He's definitely good in run support, very physical, very aggressive, is a big corner at about 5'10", 5'11", but he could definitely cover anybody's number one and get in their face. Also, he's very good. He could help in the return game a little bit. He does return punts as well. Marlon Humphrey's another from Alabama, 6'1" corner, physical, has all the tools to be a really good corner in this league. The only thing I worry about with him is that a lot of Alabama players coming out usually don't translate to the NFL very well. And there, you have your Courtney Upshaws, your Dante Hightowers that are an exception. Barrett Jones, I believe, is doing pretty good where he is. But like guys like Drake Kirkpatrick's falling off. Mark Ingram he's okay. Eddie Lacy is okay. Derrick Henry, of course, he'll be better once he gets more snaps. Now, the best ones, I would say, like I said, Dante Hightower, Amari Cooper definitely is doing it big in Oakland. So, Alabama players sometimes don't tend to grade out so good when they get into the league, but we'll see about that with Marlon Humphrey. Also, I was talking Florida cornerbacks at first. Quincy Wilson, who really just popped onto the scene this year. I have to really go back and look at some tape on him and learn a little bit more about him. They say he's really rangy. He might be a better corner than Tabor is. A little bit more technically sound, a little bit better technique as far as being a corner, and that's something I'm really gonna have to take a look at and pay attention to. Now, a couple of other ones that I put. One would be Adoree Jackson at USC, kind of raw at corner, but is an amazing return specialist. I think he could possibly develop as a corner. If the Titans got receiver and inside linebacker, maybe get an extra second round pick. If he's there in the second round, I wouldn't mind taking him. He would solve a couple of problems, special teams and corner. Maybe could even play a little receiver as well. So we'll have to see about that. Another guy I really haven't gotten a lot of information on is Sidney Jones out of Washington. Sidney Jones the fourth. One thing I will say about this kid, blazing 4.49 speed on a 40, which I saw on CBS Sports. He could be very, very fast. Can really keep up with some of the better receivers in this league. But that's something I'm going to have to watch film on, and I'll definitely be trying to watch him against Alabama in the semifinal in the college football playoff. And also, just doing one with Jamal Adams out of LSU. Maybe he's a guy that could be a safety that can line up with Kevin Byard. That would be a nice duo at safety if we were able to do something like that. Another position, of course, wide receiver. I think I put a guy who's probably going to end up being number one on my board altogether if I do one, would be Mike Williams out of Clemson. He is basically, I think in my mind, a complete receiver. He is a guy that could come in and start day one as your number one receiver. He could be a perfect target for Marcus Mariota. Good route running. He may not have the blazing speed to just completely separate, but he's a guy that can get down the field. He's going to be a guy that you got that will threaten your defense. He's a guy that he catches just about everything that comes his way, and he is a touchdown machine. And hopefully before I get into draft talk, after the season is over, I'll have some complete stats on him. Juju Smith-Schuster at LSU, I really like him. I think he run blocks well. He definitely runs good routes, and he's good after the catch. I like Juju Smith a lot. Corey Davis, I don't know really a lot about at Western Michigan. He had 3 straight seasons of 1,400 yards or more. He's 6'3". He could definitely potentially become a number one. We really have to see him at the combine to really know what we will have with him. And then a dark horse, J.R. the third, John Ross the third out of Washington. Like his defensive teammate, blazing speed at 4.3, 4.35. But he's 5'11", so I mean, we need a legit number one. This guy could come in, maybe be a number 2 or in the slot if we lose Kendall Wright. And if you decide that they want to decide to keep Rashard Matthews at 1, Tajay at 2, Ross could come in and be a number 3 or number 2, and he can definitely stretch the field with his speed. He is an incredible athlete, could make some good catches, and just can get away from defenders. So that he could be a dark horse steal later on. Inside linebacker, I had a couple of guys in Reuben Foster from Alabama, 4.72 speed. Also Zach Cunningham out of Vanderbilt. Both of these guys in the SEC could be very good inside linebackers, either besides Avery Williamson or Wesley Woodyard. So I wouldn't be surprised if either one of those two end up being Titans. And I threw in something with pass rusher, even though I think we're pretty good at pass rusher right now. With Arakpo, with Morgan. Dodd will probably be coming back after the foot surgery because he was put on IR. A little bit disappointing, but I think he'll bounce back. I said, of course, Jonathan Allen from Alabama, Myles Garrett from Texas A&M, and maybe even a Derek Barnett from Tennessee. Maybe one of those guys. If we just fix everything in free agency as far as corner, receiver, or safety in free agency, then I could see us going that route, but I doubt we really go that way. I really think we're going to stick with corner, wide receiver, and or inside linebacker. I think those are our biggest needs in that order. So, tell me what you think about that and what you think about future draft picks as well. And now that we've gotten our draft talk out of the way, which of course, again, I will be having more once we end the season. Probably looking forward to the Combine, and hopefully I'll give you some thoughts of what I thought about the Combine as we do take a look at some of that. I can get to watch a little bit of that action. Now, to one of my favorite parts of our show would be the two-tone blue star of the week. And, this time, I have to admit it's not going to be Titans related since they were on a bye week. There's really not any Titans that would qualify for that. So I would say I have two stars of the week. Number one, and I'm just looking up some information. Apologize about that. Number one star of the week is Mr. Aaron Rodgers. I want to say thank you to you and the Green Bay Packers for defeating the Houston Texans in the snow 27-21. And because of that, that is why we are tied for first place in the division right now with the Houston Texans. Because of that. So kudos to the Green Bay Packers. Good game by them, making the Texans just look all kinds of bad in the snow. And another star of the week is, wait for it, the one and only our old friend Jeff Fisher and the LA Rams. The LA Rams continue to help us out. They lose another game in big style to the New England Patriots. Even though I can't stand them, thank you to Tom Brady. I can't believe I'm saying that. Miss Joy Davidson, if you watch this, don't you ever take this to heart. I'm only saying that because y'all did us a favor. So I thank the Patriots for defeating the Rams and, of course, increasing our draft stock. And that's why I said right now we're looking like we're going to be drafting at number 6, along with our own pick at 14, which could end up being a little bit lower if we get into the playoffs. And as Miss Truth Hurts would say, when there's a star, there is also a dunce. And we do have we have an honorable mention dunce of the day in Mr. Brock Osweiler, just looking all kinds of terrible. And I think he may be the reason that we end up winning this division. The Colts are behind us, but I really think with these games with Minnesota and Oakland, I think they lose them both. I'm not going to really worry much about Indianapolis at this moment. Right now, Houston is the team we got to worry about because they're ahead of us and we got to catch them. And so Brock Osweiler did his part to help us out with that. But the biggest dunce of the week is 1, 3. The biggest dunce of the day is Jets, Jets. The Jets ruined us. I mean, come on, New York Jets. Y'all had one job to do, and that was just beat Andrew Luck. They're not that great. I know y'all are not a good team either, but Gang Green got ran on, got completely destroyed, losing 41-10 to Andrew Luck and the Indianapolis Colts. Now, thanks to you, Jets, they're 6-6 too. And now we got to deal with that with them, as well as the Texans going into this home stretch of these 4 games. So, right now, yes, the Jets ruined us, but we got to focus on us. So, that's all I got to say about that. Stars of the week, Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay, Jeff Fisher and the Rams. Dunce of the day, honorable mention Brock Osweiler, but the real dunce of the day, the New York Jets football Jets. They are the dunce of the day. Now, we come to one of Miss Truth Hurt's favorite segments. Pick your brain. Pick your brain. This is the show. This is the part where you get to ask me questions. This is the part you get to pick my brain of all my Titan knowledge. And just so happened, I happened to have a couple of questions from the audience. First off, I give a shout out from my personal page to Miss Priscilla Brown, who has been a big supporter. Miss Priscilla, how you doing? Thank you for your support. She asked, what three major things we have to have fixed before we face the Broncos? What upper hand do we have on them that they don't have? And that's a great question, Priscilla. That is a really great question. Three things that I feel that definitely has to be fixed. And one is not something necessarily that has to be fixed. But it's something that definitely needs to make sure that we do. Number one is run the football. We have to run the ball. The Broncos are 27th in the league against the run. And the best way to attack them is not at the edges. It's right up the gut. Go right at them and run the ball straight down their throat. That would be one way that's one advantage I think that we would definitely have. And that's something that we must fix, that we must continue to do, because the running game has faltered a little bit, but rest assured, I know the running game is going to be fine. We're third in the league in rushing, so I'm not really that worried. As long as both DeMarco Murray and Derrick Henry get touches. Yes, I want DeMarco Murray to get more touches, but Derrick Henry has to have, if DeMarco Murray is going to get 20 to 25 carries, Derrick Henry has to have at least 10 to 15. That's just my honest opinion. And, if we can at least get to 17 to 20 points, we can win this game. So that's definitely one thing. Another thing that we need to get fixed, and this is probably one of the biggest things, this is one of. Number two is the secondary. By God, ad nauseum, the secondary is pitiful. Jason McCourty is okay, but, on the other side, right now, reports are out that it's either going to be Valentino Blake or LaShawn Sims starting opposite Jason McCourty. I'm terrified of that. Now, I would still venture to go with LaShawn Sims because Valentino Blake is horrible. We've seen it. He stinks. He's terrible. Points the wrong way. Does a bad special teams play. You don't need him on the field. LaShawn Sims, he still has to learn. So, of course, I'd rather have him out there and get some more learning experience, which will help him going forward. But at the same time, he can still be effective. And I don't know which one I would rather put him on, either on Emmanuel Sanders or Demaryius Thomas. Both are dangerous. I would probably put LaShawn Sims more on Emmanuel Sanders because he might be able to keep up with him with some speed. Demaryius Thomas is more physical. He's not that fast. Jason McCourty might be a better matchup there. But he's going to have some help from the safeties as well. But I really hope Valentino Blake does not start on that other side, because that would scare the crap out of me if that happens. And last but not least, this is not really a problem that needs to be fixed, but this is something that we got to make sure we take care of, is the offensive line. Now, I'm not going to be looking ahead to Kansas City, but I am going to say these next 2 weeks are going to be the two biggest tests of the year for our offensive line. This is going to be a major test, especially for Taylor Lewan and Jack Conklin. They are going to have their hands full because on one side, you got DeMarcus Ware. DeMarcus Ware, one of the better pass rushers in the league. And he is still doing it at this age, at this time. He's been doing it for a long time. And I'm thinking most likely he's going to be on Taylor Lewan's side, which means Jack Conklin has the very, very challenging task of stopping the number one pass rusher in the league, that being Mr. Four Eyes, Mr. Dance on Madden himself, Mr. Dancing with the Stars, Von Miller. He's one of the very few. He does the reality shows, but still backs it up on the field. 12.5 sacks on the year. This is going to be a major test. And they're probably going to be switching on both sides. So I think Conklin and Lewan are each going to get a taste of both guys. They are going to have to be on their A game if they're going to keep Marcus Mariota clean. And that is going to be the main thing. Keeping Marcus Mariota clean. And Marcus is going to have to be smart enough to understand he's going to have to get the ball out quick. And, dinking and dunking will be good for a while, but he can't do it forever. So we're going to have to neutralize Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware, maybe with some short passes. Also attack the middle of the field. Keep them in their base defense because we may have an advantage, and especially where they may have to drop back in coverage. And if they do that, then that may help us out too. So that's where I think the three things that we need to make sure of. Advantages that I think we have. Number one, again, they're 27th against the run. We should be able to run the football on them. Number two, attack the middle of the field with either Delaney Walker and, by God, get Kendall Wright involved at some point. Get him involved. Attack over the middle with these two. You could do some major damage. Either it being slants, it being deep post, corner routes, anything as far as stretching the middle of the field, testing these linebackers, and getting to the injury report in just a moment. They have a little bit of a weakness there. And then last but not least, you got to get out to the quarterback. For the Titans' sake, depend on showing what happened last week against the Jaguars, even though I love this guy and he is a Memphis alum, Paxton Lynch did not look good last week. He did not look good against the Jags. And if he looks like that against us, we have a very good chance of winning this game if he plays. It's either going to be him or Trevor Siemian. Right now, I've heard they worked out a couple of quarterbacks, so that may point to Trevor Siemian possibly sitting out. He was limited today in practice, according to Gary Kubiak and the Denver Broncos. I'm really hoping that it's Paxton Lynch that goes and not Trevor Siemian. Even though I am a Paxton Lynch fan, he represented Memphis well, but I hope he continues to suck if he starts on Sunday. So thank you, Miss Priscilla, for that question on that. And now another question I have from Miss Jarita Richardson. How you doing, sweetheart? Thank you for your support as well. She was asking about key players on the injury report for the Broncos. The main key players that were limited were, again, the aforementioned Trevor Siemian with his foot injury. He's out of a walking boot. He tried to practice today. I don't know how good is he going to be. We'll have to find out as the week goes on. Again, I think Paxton Lynch will probably start. Brandon Marshall had a hamstring issue, their linebacker. He has been already ruled out for this game. So they're going to have a backup in there replacing him at linebacker. So they may be very thin across the middle. And so that could be an advantage, again, that we could take advantage of and definitely try to defeat the Broncos that way. And another player we got to watch out for also is when Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware come out is Shane Ray, the 2015 draft pick out of Missouri. He may get some snaps in as well. He's a guy that could be a pass rushing problem. I actually liked Shane Ray coming out of Missouri despite the drug problems that were happening. I was hoping that the Titans might pick him up, but he could probably give Von Miller or DeMarcus Ware a breather, so we got to watch out for that. But those are just a couple of questions that I had. Shout out to also to a couple of my fraternity brothers, Mr. Larry Gammon, LG, and also Tracy Shaw. Shout out to y'all and to the Titans fan club of my hometown of Memphis, Tennessee. Shout out to y'all. And McKinley's Sports Bar and Grill. Shout out to y'all on that. And basically, that was all the questions that I had. And I know some of them are going to be up for the game. But now it is time for the final segment of this show. And normally this is Mika's moment. But since she is working hard on the grind, I decided to once again present Blue Enforcer's Bombshell of the Week. And so this is basically me giving my thoughts from this week. Number one, I want to talk some good as far as number one, congratulations again to my alma mater, the Whitehaven Tigers. That BHZ, that 901, winning the state championship in Class 6A. They defeated a local team from from Murfreesboro, the Oakland Patriots, who were ranked 15th in the nation. Defeated them 12-9 to win the state championship in 6A, the second title in 4 years. Congratulations to one of my former coaches, who is the head coach now, Coach Rodney Salisbury, and to all the players there. Y'all worked extremely hard. I was up there in the rain. Me and my wife were up there in the rain. We cheered our Tigers on the victory, and they did it. They won, and they did it well. So congratulations to them. Also, a big shout out to 104.5 The Zone and the Tennessee Titans with the Salvation Army. They did Toy Field, which they got toys donated or given to them, unwrapped toys to give to needy children that may not have much for Christmas, but we'll be able to have a little bit of a special Christmas. Of course, you know that Toys for Tots is coming up, so definitely if you can, donate a toy to a child that's in need, that is less fortunate, because there's a lot of kids out there that aren't able to have very good Christmases, and so that's something that could be very useful for them, and something that'll make them happy, put a smile on their face. They deserve to have good Christmases as well. Finally, I want to touch on a sad note that's happened last week, but efforts are continuing to be done, and that is with the unfortunate wildfires up in Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge. My prayers are with all those families and all those people up there. I really hope that you're able to recover and rebuild, and you survive and stay strong. Believe me, much needed goods and help is on the way. I can tell you that now, because I know there's a lot of people donating money, donating supplies, donating water, food, anything that could go up there for the people up there, because I know a lot of some resorts, cabins, maybe hotels, places of interest for visitors, because that's a big tourist attraction spot that some of those places were unfortunately destroyed or have been damaged by those wildfires. So again, my prayers are with all the families, all the people, all the workers, anybody who works up there or who has to commute through there every day. My prayers and my thoughts are with you on behalf of Titan Nation. Stay strong. Help is on the way. And that's kind of dear to my heart, because I love going to Pigeon Forge at Gatlinburg. I love going to Dollywood. I love going to some of the restaurants there, Old Mill Restaurant, some of those places there, the Wax Museum, Magic Quest. I love going to those places, and just to hear that Gatlinburg and that spot was hit by those fires, that was very unfortunate, and I felt it right here. But that pretty much is going to wrap up the show for tonight. Again, you can hit me up at Chris Newell on Facebook. Also, you can hit me up on Instagram at Blue Enforcer 1914. That's at BLU_EN number 4 CER 1914. I am also on Twitter, but I cannot even remember my Twitter handle. I believe it's under Blue Enforcer 4. Blue Enforcer 4, I believe, is my Twitter handle. For some of you that are on Twitter, I'm not that hard to find on there either. And also subscribe to the page. Subscribe to the YouTube page under my name, Christopher Newell, Titans and Truth. For all subscribers that register to the page, me and Miss Truth Hurts will enter you. We're going to have a drawing for some Christmas gifts coming up, probably within the next couple of weeks. For some Christmas gifts out there, or around New Year's, for a Christmas gift or two that we will give out to a big time Titans fan. So hit us up, hit me, hit Miss Truth Hurts up, and definitely leave us with your comments. I want some feedback after the Broncos game, questions, your star of the week, dunce of the day nominations. I need those for next week's show. So definitely hit us up. Let us know what you think. And other than that, on behalf of Miss Truth Hurts, shout out to Titans Fans for Life, Miss Larita, Travis, Dee Dee, Johnny, Chanel, Ashley A. Smooth, all the Titan fans out there. If I forgot you, I'm sorry. Cliff, Jeffrey, Miss Janine, all of you out there, Trevor, everybody out there, shout out to y'all. Keep tuning in, keep listening, subscribe, show some support. And again, I thank y'all very much for tuning in. Thank y'all for tuning in. And we are out. We are out. A good night, y'all. Tighten up. Tighten up. Let's get this win and go to 7-6, close to the division title. Get into the playoffs. Let's go tighten up.